Item 5. Okay, you guys, this is our annual audit report, and
well, thank you for the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you this evening. My name is Matt Ray Curtis from the CPA firm of Wise & Smith, Draker and Prescott. And let me first start out by saying we're really grateful for the opportunity to do the audit of the district. We find the staff is very responsive. They do a great job. Internal controls are working well. We haven't made any comments on internal controls this year because things are going so well. One thing that we do at the end of the audit is we're required by our standards to send a letter to management and to the board that talks about things that we encountered during the audit. How did the audit go? Was there cooperation? Did we run into problems? Did management try to influence us to do things differently? You know, were there any disagreements along those lines? And the letter just says that everything went well and we didn't have any problems at all. So I'll turn that over to Kevin. But we really do appreciate working with them. We're very efficient. Wes always does a great job of pulling things together. Let me just cover a few things in the report very, very quickly. I know this is not the most interesting stuff. Would you turn with me to page 13, please?
13?
13, yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you. We've had some changes in our accounting principles that require a little bit of different format and reporting for an organization such as yours. And you'll notice that it used to be that we had assets minus liabilities equals fund balance. Now it's assets plus deferred outflows of resources minus liabilities equals net position. And what that's doing is it's recognizing that we had certain things that we used to call assets that really weren't assets. We call them deferred type items. And the one item that you have that is deferred is that when you do a bond refunding, there's a difference in your payments between the two bonds. And that difference is required to be amortized over the life of the shorter of the old bonds or the new bonds, okay? Mm-hmm. And so we have to carry that as a debit, as a deferred outflow of resources, and then reduce that over the life of the bonds. So that's what that item is. So it's not really new. It used to be buried in the liabilities. Now it's broken out. Okay.
I didn't even know we could refund the bond.
Yeah, you refunded a bond. Do you remember what's
2000? Well, we did a refinance of the 2001 bond, and then we defeased a portion of the 2008.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And that's what created that.
2008. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. It wasn't the total 2008. It was just a portion of it. And so you do see that there is a change in that formatting, but essentially when you get down to the bottom, it's the same thing. You have net investment in capital assets, which represents the assets, the capital assets minus outstanding bonding on those. You're restricted for ordinance number 2, and then unrestricted amounts that are available to spend. Let's turn to the next page, and there's some important things to point out here. Other than the fact that we use that terminology of net position instead of net fund balance or net assets or whatever. What I wanted to point out is right at the bottom, an adjustment to beginning net position. Now what that is as part of this new standard of breaking out deferreds, they redefined what kinds of things are deferred, inflows and outflows. And one of those was when you do a financing of a bond, you have bond costs. And the old standard said you have to amortize those bond costs over the life of the bonds. You couldn't expense them up front. The new standard says, oh no, we changed our minds. You have to expense those up front. So what that $851,000 is those bond costs that hadn't been amortized wiped off the books. Okay, so that has nothing to do with, you know, something you did. It's just a change in accounting principle.
Okay.
Now, we did have some other adjustments at the beginning net position, and that is, as you're very well aware, the district went through the effort this past year to do a detailed review of all of the assets, everything above ground and below ground, and determine whether or not the fixed asset listing was correct. And they made some corrections. Most of that was pulling, well, all of it was pulling old things off that had been disposed of, most of them many years in the past. And so now the fixed asset listing is much more accurate, and so that helps for better reporting. I think those are the major things that I wanted to point out. Wes, was there something else that you were thinking of that I should cover?
No,
Do any of you have any questions for us?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I would mention that the printed version that has been handed out to the board is the same audit that is online. This is the same electronic document that was received that is available online, so any member of the public would be able to find this on the website. So you have access to the same exact
Is
information.
that the same version that was included in the packet for
Yes.
those of us that?
Yes.
Yeah, and the 2 copies I just handed out there to pass around, we'll collect those at the end, but just for your perusal. for
Right,
those of
it's
you
all,
that
it's
have
all
those
the
in
same
front of you.
document.
Yes.
Well, just a question, I know that with the audit, your responsibility is to go through to make sure that we're following all the correct procedures according to the county practices. For the public's information, do you have anything else you would like to share with us as far as an opinion on how the audit went, financial condition, anything like that? I know that's a little above and beyond the scope of your...
Well, yeah, again, in that letter that I handed to Kevin, it talks about some of those issues that there were no disagreements on accounting principles. You are following those principles appropriately. The staff's doing a great job, as I indicated earlier. Maybe 1 or 2 things I could point out, and it's interesting that our citizen kind of covered a couple of those things, but if you look again on page 14, and look at the operating loss about a little over halfway down the page, you'll see that that went up by about $400,000. Most of that would be as a result of lawsuits, legal expenses. Okay. And that would be the major thing there. As I pointed out last year, even last year, you had about a $300,000 loss. It was our recommendation that rates, reflect the ability to cover those costs. So that's where we would stand on that. So we think it's a great idea that you are going through the process of looking at your rates. It's been 2 years since they've been raised. So, any other questions? Thank you. Appreciate you letting us come.
Thank you.
Any questions from, discussion from the board? I have one.
I just want to say that Wes did a great job of preparing for this audit, and he did a fantastic job in getting the information to Mac and his folks, and preparing for that.
He does.
He did a fantastic job. So,
We
thank
enjoy
you,
working
Wes.
with him.
We thank you, gentlemen.